Are you looking to open yourself up to your fullest potential? Are you a goer for growth? Do you love developing yourself and wanting to see what you are capable of and how far you can go? Even though you feel scared, even though you feel fear, you have this deep inside you, this longing that there is more, that you are more. This is 100% your truth. You are more. You can be more. You can elevate your life and yourself and any area in your life, whether that is your relationships, healthy, fulfilling, nurturing, loving, supportive, exciting, fun relationships. A career that is deeply meaningful and fulfilling, that lights you up, that you just want to do more of, that gives you energy, and it gives you financial stability and financial means where you can live the life and create the life that you want. Perhaps it's this vitality of health and feeling so free and strong and vital in your body, feeling so good to be in your body. Maybe you're looking to clear and open and expand your mind, to break through any barriers, any filters, anything in your mind that's holding you back, whether that's past traumas or from wherever you were. If you want to extend beyond this, perhaps you want to feel a deep connection with the world around you, that you have a purpose, a mission, a place in life. This internal desire and drive to express yourself more authentically, to become who you really are. There are means and ways to do this. There are steps, practical, grounded steps we can take to reach and fulfill our potential, even if we're not sure what that is. To take the abstract and our vision and put it into daily action, where we can wire our internal systems, our nervous system, our brain, our physiology, to represent and become all that we want to be. There are tools that we can do this to train our body, to train our mind, for our mind to become so strong that all we see is our vision. All that we see and be and become is our higher self. And our higher self, while it may seem like a solo act, it's a collective act, because when we rise ourselves, when we care for ourselves, when we do the internal work, when we tap into our inner intelligence, we raise everyone around us. We can help them become more by doing the work ourselves. Now, if you have been working on your exterior, perhaps you've been working on your career, perhaps you've been earning money, investing, perhaps you have been taking your physical body, your fitness, to its limit. You're seeing and working yourself externally to see how far you can get. But perhaps you've hit this place, this either plateau, where everything's going well, you're doing everything you're meant to be doing, you're succeeding, you're achieving, but you've hit a plateau and you're wondering where to go next. Or perhaps you are in the hustle, you're in the grind, you're doing, pushing yourself further, but it doesn't feel good. And you may be getting burnt out, you may be getting sick, you may be getting stressed out, and not sleeping and not connecting, and your relationships are falling apart, or your health is falling apart, or something else in your life is falling apart, and you're too busy. Or perhaps you're stuck. Perhaps you don't know where to move. You have this inertia and you can't get through it. Wherever you are, wherever you're starting from, whatever place you are in, this is the place to start. This is the place where we turn inside to become more outside. When we start to do the internal work, where we start to become fit within our minds, within our hearts, when we start to open our mind and open our heart and connect with our body and listen to its messages, hear its wisdom, hear its whispers. When we can start to tune into that inner intelligence, our life starts to come to the next level. And it isn't through hustle, and it isn't through grind and push and being so tough. That has got us to a certain place. But where do we go from here? That is going to feel peaceful. That is going to feel so beautiful. Where we feel truly content and grateful for our life. Where we feel like we have truly and finally connected to something bigger. And that's where we make our impact on the world. That is where we make the impact on ourselves when we do the internal work. And everything starts to fall into place. Synchronicities start happening. Because when we start to do the internal work and go inside, inwards, we start to know who we truly are, and we start to understand what is truly important to us and what our mission, what our purpose is. And from there, nothing stops us, because we are no longer functioning from the ego, from our mind. Instead, we are functioning on a much greater level. And we can call this the universal intelligence. We can call it our soul. Whatever you want to call it. It is something bigger than just our mind. And when we're in the mind, when we're functioning from our mental state, that is where anxiety comes from. That is where fear happens and stops you and blocks you from going to that next level, because we're scared, because we're functioning in that ego mind. And when we're functioning from that ego mind, it's hard to feel supported. It's harder to trust, to truly trust ourselves and the path, because when we step out of the ego mind, the small mind, it struggles to know what's next. It doesn't know what's next, and that makes us scared. But when we step into this larger mind, the collective intelligence, we don't need to know the way, because we trust, and we've jumped that bridge, we've crossed that bridge into a greater knowing. But bloody hell, it is a lot more amazing than we could ever have imagined with our small mind, with our ego mind, with our fearful mind. When we are operating on love, when we are operating from the universal intelligence, from the collective, from the wisdom that has created the world, that makes the sun rise, that creates the mountains, that makes us realize that we are more than just our small ego mind, then shit starts to get real. And it's on. Game on. Growth on. Expansion on. New levels accessed. Greater levels of health and wellness and vitality. This is just the byproduct. When we step into this universal mind, into the inner intelligence that's actually the intelligence that's all around us. And in this place, there is no fear. There is just love for ourselves. Deeply, truly, we love ourselves and we love others. And there is no judgment. Instead, it is understanding. Understanding that we are on our own path and others are as well. And from this place, this is where we are playing at a pure level. There is no other intention apart from fulfilling our mission on earth, fulfilling our purpose, helping us realize our own potential, because that is the universe's potential and it is always expanding, and so are we. So whenever you drop into this fear or anxiety or depression or feeling like you're uncertain or you don't know or you're feeling lost or you're feeling blocked or stuck, know that you are in the ego, the small mind. And can you step out of it? And can you give that part of yourself love and understanding? Can you hold it? Hold yourself and say, it's okay. Can you be that universal intelligence, that universal love, coming from the soul perspective, not the ego? And that's when we break our chains. And that's where we go from fear to freedom. And we live that freedom. And we feel that freedom. And that energy transmits and goes out to every single person we meet. And then that's reflected back to us, because like attracts like. And from a scientific, a biological, a physiological perspective, when we are trapped in the stress response, when our sympathetic nervous system is online, even just at a low level, we start to have our filters on. Our mind starts to get narrowed. And we are looking, because we're in survival mode, we're looking for threats, we're looking for dangers. We're constantly in low-level fear because we're trying to protect ourselves and the walls are up. And this is, you can think of it as functioning from the amygdala, which is this lower part in our brains. And it's down here. It can't see up here in the biggest perspective and what's around us. It's functioning at a lower survival level, which is fantastic for getting us out of those situations where we need that activated, where we need to run, where we need to fight, where we need to stand up for ourselves. Bring that stress response up. Bring that power up. It is an incredible state to be in, but it's not the one we're meant to function in. It's not the one we're meant to live in. It is for short responses. And then we return back into what they refer as the ventral vagal, part of our parasympathetic nervous system. The polyvagal theory goes into it, and it is a fantastic understanding of what's happening internally. And when we're in this higher functioning state, we're activating the executive functions in our forebrain, So we're literally using this part of the brain that's up higher, so a higher level of thinking, a higher level of being, a higher level of thinking, feeling, acting, behaving, dreaming, visioning. We're expanding from this higher level, from the forebrain, from the ventral vagal, this parasympathetic nervous system in our body. When it's activated, we feel relaxed. And this does not mean we feel fatigued and flat. That is when our parasympathetic has shut down. We want to be in the awakened part of our parasympathetic nervous system, our ventral vagal state, our higher brain functioning state. Because when you can think about it, when we're in that sympathetic stress response, when we're functioning from the small mind, from the ego mind, from our amygdala, which is down lower, it's like we have all these filters on. Everything that's hurt us, everything that we're running from, everything that we're scared of, all of our past hurts, pains, traumas have filtered in. So you can think anything, the person that bullied you when you were 5, the disappointment that you felt, these are layers coming onto your vision, onto your perception, and you're putting up a wall in front of you. You're putting up defenses, and our hearts close and our minds shut off, and we're always in the reactive, never the proactive. And that's not where we want to live if we want to be a goer for growth. If you want to be a goer for growth, if you want to see your potential, if you want to smash any limiting beliefs, any chains that you feel, if you want to live your mission, live your purpose, create and breathe and be your passion for yourself and for others, we need to access and be in that ventral vagal, that higher state, that higher functioning. Because when we're in that state, if we go back to these filters, if we have that small mind, our ego mind, our scared mind, our fearful mind, we've got all these filters on, and this is how we're seeing. We're seeing the world through filters, and it's very hard to see clearly. So you can think about, as another way to put it, like you're driving your car and you haven't washed your window for months, perhaps years, perhaps ever, as in you haven't done any internal work before. You haven't wiped the window, you haven't cleared the window, and it's full of dirt and muck and grime and dead bugs. And you can't see clearly out of it. How do you know where you're going to go? It's going to be very difficult and very confusing. And it's not going to feel very good when you can't see through the muck or the filters. So what do? We give our window a clean. We wipe off the dirt, we wipe off the muck, we wipe off those dead bugs, and we let the light in. We clear our vision, we clear our minds, and in doing that we open our hearts. We drop our defenses down, and we can see the light, so we become the light, because like attracts like. If you feel loving, if you feel abundant, if you feel gratitude, that is going to return back to you. What you focus on grows. And the beautiful, incredible, amazing thing that us humans have access to is that we can change our internal state, that we are empowered enough, if we've learned how, and if we're willing to try it out and practice and persist, we can change our internal state to however we want to be, no matter what is happening around us. Now, the environment does have a massive impact on us. If we're sitting in a room that is depressing, that is no natural light, we're closed in with all four walls, Think about that, what that does with our mind. Like attracts like. I'm closed in, I'm boxed in, I can't think clearer. I can't see the bigger perspective. But we still have that ability through changing our internal state, through using our mental mind, through visioning, through our body, through activating positive, elevated emotions like hope, joy, energy, love, gratitude, happiness, abundance. Through activating these emotions, elevated emotions, even if you're sitting in those four walls, even if you're sitting on top of the cliff with a beautiful, incredible world around you, you can activate whatever state you want. So you are in charge. You are in the driver's seat. You are driving your human body through this journey. And we have the ability to wipe our window clear if we choose. We have the choice. You have the choice. You don't have to do anything you don't want, but if you can feel that inside you, if you know that you are more, you deserve and you are worthy to try, to have the courage to turn inwards. And you want to know, and do you want to know why it feels good when we try, even if we're scared? Because when we are in sync with the universe, with the greater intelligence, that's when good feelings happen. That is truth. The further you're away from your truth, the smaller and shittier you feel. And we're not living up to our full potential. Our emotions are just signals and signs. They are messages and messengers to let us know if we're going in the right direction or not. So we need to evolve, to expand, to grow. We need to start tuning back in to our body. At the moment, we are disconnected. We are living from the mind. We are living from the small mind, from the ego mind, where everything has to make sense and everything has to be a plan. And if I don't know, shit hits the fan. And I work, and then I burn out. And I hustle, and I still don't feel like I'm getting anywhere, and I'm trapped in this cycle. We can't get anywhere new with the same thinking. So we have to try something new. It is the universe's want and need and guidance for us to go higher. It wants us to go higher. It's just the ego, it's just the mind that wants us to stay small and protected. And that's okay, that's beautiful. It wants to protect us. Instead of hating the ego, of being frustrated at the mind, and when we feel scared, thank it. Reframing is a massive tool that we have. Cognitive flexibility, being able to see and shift different perspectives. So when we feel fearful, anxious, go thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ego, small mind, whatever you want to call it. Fearful focus, whatever you want to call it. Say thank you for protecting me, but I'm okay. Because I am connected to something larger than myself. I am tapped into the universal intelligence within, so I am supported on the outside. I know I'm being guided, even if ego mind, small mind, that fear focus, even if you can't see it. I know I am. I know I am. I trust that I am. I feel it. It's truth. And it feels good. So when it feels good, it's truth. If you are in a situation right now where you feel a lot of self-doubt if you feel a lot of uncertainty, if it doesn't feel good, you need to go higher. That is your indication to grow. The universe is always expanding. It wants us to expand. And we only get stuck, frustrated when we keep doing the same thing without going upwards. And that takes courage, and that takes trust, and that takes belief in ourselves. And if it helps to believe that we're connected to the universe, to something bigger than us, to a greater intelligence than us, that has created this world, that has created the trees so we can breathe, that has created our skin that can heal us without us even thinking about it, it's a much greater intelligence than our little mind, than our small mind, than that fearful focus where we can't see everything. So my goal is for growth. If you want to really expand yourself, but you want to do it from a greater level of awareness, and you want to get off autopilot and into alignment, we need to go within. We need to shift ourselves from this low survival, this sympathetic stress mode that so many of us are in, that so many live our lives from, and we want to start living bigger. Doesn't that feel better? Doesn't that feel freer? Doesn't that feel like liberation? Even if we're scared, because that's the ego, it's okay. It's okay to be scared. We can be scared and feel liberated. We can feel scared and still take the leap. That's when we know, when we have that bit of fear, but it feels good, that's when we know we're in the right direction. And that's when we take that leap, everything's going to start rolling in the right direction, and synchronicities are going to start happening, because instead of having these filters on from our little small stress response, our small mind, our filters, our past hurts, traumas, pains, when we wipe that clear and we open our vision and we can see and we're connected from the universal to the universal intelligence, we're not just connected, we know we are. We know we are part of it. That's when we get out of that rat race. That's when we get out of our grind. That's when we break free from wherever we are. And whether that's in the direction of more financial wealth, a happier, more satisfying feeling career, to finding that person, that partner in life that feels so good to be with them, to finding and having these friendships that feel and light you up and that feel supportive and feel expansive, and you finish your conversations with your friends and you go, wow, I feel so good. I feel like I can do anything. That is this universal intelligence working through us, and we expand together. Because the universe wants to expand, we want to expand. We're in this alignment together. We're not on autopilot, just trying to push through with the mind. We're going to hit that brick wall. And when we're in that stress response, things feel like, if you feel at the moment like life is very stressful and very rushed and very hectic and very busy and very in your face, that's being in the stress response. That's being from this lower level where we don't feel connected. Because life should feel expansive and freeing and in its natural rhythm, and everything is in its place, so we don't have to worry. So when we're in that stress response, things feel like it's like this. They feel like up in our face, whether that's people, whether that's our job, whether that's the traffic, whether that's your kids. Whatever it feels like it's up in our face, up in our grill. And just do that for a second now. Have your hand up in your face. What does that feel like in your body? You want to push, or you want to fight it, or you want to run away, or you just want to freeze. You don't want to face it. I can't do it. I can't deal with it. You feel overwhelmed. That isn't how life needs to be, and that isn't how life is meant to be. This is a lie. This is just us being in a particular state in our nervous system, and it's not truth. That's just a particular part of our biology, our evolution, that was trying to keep us safe for all of those years. But we are in a new time, and we can choose to stay like that. That is our choice. We have free will. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But if you feel like, no, there's more, there's another way to be. So if we're out of the rat race, if we choose to be out of the rat race and not being busy and things in our face and rushing and hustling, feeling frantic and frazzled and not sleeping and, oh, I've got to go do this, go do this, what's the alternative? We need to be able to see a vision and see where we're going next to get there. Even if we don't know how. We don't need to know how. That's the beauty and the part of the not knowing and the trusting and the faith and the belief and the excitement and the joy and the surprise. It's part of life, the not knowing and the mystery. We don't need to know everything, even though we want to, and that's the human way to know, to understand, and that's why it's so beautiful, because it's the universe realizing itself. It's us realizing ourselves. It always links, it's always connected. So if you don't want to live with life up in your face, where you'll constantly feel like you're fighting it, where you feel aggressive, where you feel defensive and your walls are up, or you're running away from things, and you feel overwhelmed, and you just want to go away, and you can't speak your truth, and you can't stand up for yourself, and you feel scared, and you feel small, and you just freeze, which is part of the sympathetic response. That's actually shut down, where we drop into parasympathetic, where we just go, no more. That is just particular parts of our nervous system and how they function. But because we're humans and we have this consciousness, we can just realize that that's what it is, and we can make the choice that we don't have to react. We can create this space between this life, whatever situation's in your face, and we can choose to create space, and in this space, from this space, we can respond. And within our response is our fucking power. Our response, being in control, choosing, being in the driver's seat of our life, is freedom. It is peace. It is liberation, and we're not in that grind anymore. So there are tools and techniques. There are things we can learn and understand to create this space in our life. If we practice, persist, if we do this internal work and learn the techniques and understand the teachings, we can go from this to this. We can go from being reactive and stressed out and frazzled and blah to that cool, calm, collected person. That calm person, that in control person, that person that knows, that has this deep sense of groundedness, with their feet on the ground, on the earth. Their head just isn't up in the sky, but grounded down. The wise ones. We all have that potential and capability within us, because we all come from the same. Because we are all one. It's just the layers and the illusions and the filters that separate us. We're separate in our bodies, but our souls are all connected. So we all have the potential. If you're watching this and you're feeling what I'm saying, this is in you as well. This is in you. This is a part of you. If you can see it, if you can acknowledge it, if you can feel it, if it feels like, wow, I get it, or I get parts of it, or I can feel it at least. The same is in you. And that is exciting, because any person that you look up to, that you listen to, that you admire, that is within you, waiting to be unlocked, waiting to be realized, waiting to be acknowledged, waiting to be loved and appreciated and known. And we can't get there and realize that if we're functioning from this place or from this place. We need to be in this place. We need to find the space. And that is why it's so important, and I teach and I teach and I love it so much, to slow the fuck down. Slow down. Actually stop. That's when we access that deeper inner intelligence within, that higher part of our brain, that executive functioning, where we can be in alignment with our authentic self, because we no longer have the layers and the illusions and the filters on us or the world. We've cleared it, we've let the light in, and we become the light. And for the longest time, I was confused. Until very recently did I realize what the hell I was actually doing, meant to be on this earth. But for the longest time I was exploring. Now, there are 4 E's that help us live our authentic self, to be our authentic self, to live our purpose, passion, and play with the world. And the first one is exploring. And I did this externally first. I traveled the world. All I wanted to do was get out and experience as much as I could. And that got me out of my small mind, out of my layers, out of the ways that I grew up in. It blasted these away because I saw so much, so many different ways, so many different people, so many different sites, so many different cultures. And it just blew my ego and the way I thought things should be, and who I thought I was. It just exploded it. And I couldn't go back, because once you see the truth, it's very hard to go backwards. You have to push a lot down, you have to squish it down, squander it down, but it's much easier to move forward, even though it's harder, because the ego is scared, the small mind is scared because it doesn't know what's happening, because it's new ground, it's new territory, you don't know what's happening next. But that's where that energy comes from, and our life comes from, because we are in sync with the universe. We are in alignment. So I traveled, and I was always a teacher. I started teaching dance at 16 years old, and I was coaching sporting teams, and everything I did was some kind of like teaching role. And I went into study at university to be a teacher, studied a Bachelor of Physical and Health Education, because I wanted kids to realize their potential and to be healthy and to be well. It's always been my mission. But through those years, those 10 years from 20 to 30, it didn't feel right. It felt wrong. I was feeling those feelings of depression, of anxiety, of just waking up feeling an absolute dread, which will be very surprising for people, because on the outside, on the external, I put my mask on and I'm happy to be there, and I'm thinking this is the right thing I got to do, but it was all part of the journey. There is nothing, our path is never wrong, it's always right. We are always on the way, nothing's ever in the way. There's Dr. Demartini, who is the person that absolutely grounded me into who I'm meant to be. So thank you to him. Thank you to him. Nothing is ever in the way. It's always on the way. And if we can look back and see that as part of our story and create a strong story for ourselves, that is resilience. And we're always going to keep going, and nothing, whether it's challenges and obstacles, we're going to seek them out because we're like, yes, I want to grow, I want to learn. So come on, challenges, come at me. What have you got? I want to grow, I want to learn. What's next for me? I know I'm supported by the universe. I know I got this because the universe has got me. So I went through this 10-year span of really just not understanding what the hell I'm meant to be doing, but knowing there is more. I always knew, and it was so strong because I felt so bad because I wasn't doing what I was meant to be doing. And only now do I realize that I am a teacher. I am a teacher of my own curriculum. And it felt so wrong because it wasn't authentic to who I am and my purpose. I couldn't be the best school teacher because I wasn't living in alignment with my highest values and my truest purpose and my highest purpose. I was living from this place of like, I should teach this, and I have to teach in this way, and I have to go to school, and I have to be in a classroom, and I have to go 5 days. And I have to be there from these times, and I have to assess children in this way. And I have to give them a grade and tell them that they're wrong, or put them in detention. And all of this was so wrong to me, so wrong to me. It felt so depressing and so sad and heartbreaking. And I thought I wasn't meant to be a teacher. But funny, the universe is funny, because I've come this full circle and I realize I am meant to be a teacher. But I had to find my own voice. I had to trust, really, really trust myself. And that has taken so much work, so much internal work. From that time, when I started to feel those feelings of this isn't right, of that heaviness, of that just not knowing, of just not feeling good. And that was physically, so this is where everything's connected. Physically, I wasn't well. Mentally, I wasn't well. Emotionally, I was not well. Spiritually, I was disconnected. And I was never going to get that true financial abundance because I was playing small. I was playing from fear. I was playing from what society has told me. And I was trying to stick to convention, and that just wasn't working. Because I could feel those feelings were wrong. No, the feelings weren't wrong. The feelings were perfectly in truth. I just had the message wrong. My understanding had the message wrong. So now I know, through all this internal work, from connecting within, I was searching for how to be well. My kind of purpose and mission and this drive that I always felt from within was, how do I be happy and healthy? How do I do that? And, you know, looking at diet, looking at different exercises, looking from Western thinking and medicine to Eastern thinking and traditions, spending time in Thailand and learning the practices of Buddhism, coming back into the Western world and, you know, trying all these different things. I tried all of it. I read, I studied, I practiced, I experienced all of these different things because I was on the search. I was a seeker for the truth of how to get to the root of how to be well in mind, body, spirit, and soul. And funny enough, that even though all those things have to be health promoting, of like what you're eating, you can't just eat shit, you can't just sit on the lounge because everything's connected. But the root cause of true health and happiness and long-lasting well-being and success And which actually makes us reach our full potential. And we're reaching our full potential because we actually feel so well and feel so healthy and feel so inspired and feel so happy, and this just radiates out to everyone else, is actually to go within and be your authentic self. That is the root, to be and live our truth, because our truth, when we're connected with our truth and we know who we are, we're connected. We are one. We are part of, no, we're not part of, we are. We are that universal intelligence. We are that love. And that love, we can't have fear and be on that highest part of love. We can't be so on purpose, so on point, so in our passion. There's no room left for fear and doubt because we are just fully free and fully liberated and fully ourselves, because we know and we have this trust. We know that we are connected to the universe and that we are supported beyond what we could ever imagine. We are loved beyond what we could ever imagine. And it's all going to be okay. It's going to be better okay. Because what our little minds can think, oh my God, the universe has such a bigger and better plan for you. It's very exciting. So listen to this whenever you feel fearful, whenever you're getting those little layers on, those filters on, the illusions, the world feels like it's pressing you down, or pressing you in, or trapping you in. You're feeling the weight of the world. When you feel the weight of the world, you need to connect to the universe. You need to connect, and we can do that by connecting within. And there are many ways we can do this. And it's about finding your own path, your own spark, your own understanding, your own connection. You are in exactly the right place at this time. Nothing is in your way. It is only on your way. And the universe loves to see you shining. So I hope that can comfort that fearful part of you. And I hope you can hold yourself, love yourself in that, and see you for who you truly are, this incredible person, this incredible soul. And it's just all the layers and the muck. It's not who you truly are. It's really not. I swear to God, it's not. So feel into your feelings, and when we can be through struggle, but we can do it without the suffering. And through our struggles, we find this strength. We know this strength. So don't be afraid of struggle. Don't be afraid of challenge. Face it and go within.